Everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine, for those of you who don't know me. And this video is basically going to be a video about my testimony and how God has changed my life and has worked positively in my life, okay? So before we go into the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if you guys want to, okay? And before we go right into the video, I am going to go ahead and say the scripture verse, okay? It's in Proverbs 3:5. So trust in and rely confidently on the Lord with all of your heart, and do not rely on your own understanding. And I feel like this is really important, especially in this time, to just trust in the God and don't rely on your own understandings, this person's understanding and that person's understanding. Just trust that God has got us, and that's all we need to know. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into my testimony and why I accepted God into my heart and why I'm still a follower till this day. So, and I'm going to do this while I'm doing my makeup. So basically, I was raised Christian. Both my parents are Christian. My grandpa, he was a pastor before he had passed away. We ended up moving to a small town. It was a predominantly white town, and I was raised there and that's where I graduated. So basically, I wasn't always going down the right path. I wasn't always, following God's way. Let's just say it like that. Like everybody's a sinner, but I'm going to tell you like my journey and why I'm a believer. So basically, I was bullied a lot in school. I was bullied a lot in middle school, mostly, So in middle school, boom. In middle school, I was getting teased about the way I look, the way I act. Basically, people were calling me like Wiz Khalifa, Chief Keef, just because of my hair. Burnt biscotti, mop head, yarn head, like all that kind of stuff. And mind you, I was like me and like 2 or 3 other like families who were, black, basically, or had black in them. The part that hurt me the most was the fact that it was right in front of teachers. It would be right in front of other students. It wouldn't be like, oh, like, I'm gonna catch her when she's alone. Like, no, it was right in front of people. So people are over here like watching me getting harassed, getting teased, getting bullied, and not say anything, just be like, or they would add on, they'd be like, ha ha ha, like all that kind of stuff. But like, you're assaulting me by the way I look, and that's something that I just can't change. I can't change my skin color. I can't change my hair. I can't change my body, if I'm skinny, if I'm fat, if I'm tall, if I'm short. I can't change any of that. So really, you're bullying me in the way I look, and there's nothing that I could change. So it hurt me, hurt me a lot. So I started, just trying to ignore them, honestly. Like for a while there, for at least 2 months, I gave it 2 months, and I prayed about it too. Like I would I'll talk about it at church, I try to talk about it, not a lot, but I tried to talk about it, I tried to tell people what was going on. I was just like, so I took it into my own hands, basically, which not the best way, but it was what I had did, and I'm not proud of it by any means, but it was what had become of it. And basically, I started talking back. I started being like, I started try to call their names, try to call them names, and try to like hit them where it hurt the most, and it didn't work. Everybody, it just came too much for me to even like tame or to even handle, It just became like this thing that I was out of my control. But I tried to end it, but it didn't work. So basically, I was going home and I would just be crying, and I would just not know what to do. I would just hate myself, hate my body, try to change myself. I cut my hair a lot, not like all the way off, but like I tried to have bangs. I could have side bangs, straight bangs, I tried to have short hair, long hair, It was just too much at that point, I tried to just change it. Besides just trying to figure out who I was I was trying to cater to everybody else, try to be everybody else so that I would feel less and less attacked, basically. You know, I don't know if anybody else can relate, but that's what was going on when I was in middle school. And it honestly scarred me. I remember one time I got chased. Like, I was just walking home and I was getting like harassed. Like, they were like, these two guys were chasing me, calling me names, like throwing stuff at me, like literally throwing like dirt and stuff at me. And I knew that both my parents worked, and I knew I had to talk to somebody, to go somewhere. Didn't want them to know where I lived, basically, you know. So I went to a youth leader's house, because she lived right by my house. So I just walked there, knocked on the door, and I was sobbing. And she let me in, and she was like, "What's wrong? Like, what's happening?" I'm just like, "These two guys, like, were just like chasing me down the street, you know, like harassing me." I was telling her, like, you know, what was happening and why I didn't go to my own house, because like there'll be nobody to talk to. I would just sit there alone, you know. And yeah, so basically I cried about it. And I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to be homeschooled. I just didn't want to finish school at all, to be honest. And I just felt hurt. I started to hang out with the wrong people. And I was going to church, and I tried to get involved. So I was involved in like youth group. So I went to youth group, and our youth group was on Thursdays. So I tried to make friends and stuff like that. I ended up joining their worship team. So I was singing sometimes. I'll be scheduled to sing. And then I told them that, you know, I knew how to play the violin. So I would just go and I would just freestyle. And I would freestyle my violin and tried to incorporate that. And then the main church had wanted me to sing for them. So I was trying to get involved as much as I could to keep me out of trouble, basically. But my parents ended up getting a divorce, or starting to like go through the process of being in a divorce. So that took a toll on me in a different way, you know. It was so much chaoticness at home. So I was getting bullied at school, had so much chaos at home, and my only little safe place was going to church, you know. So I had went to church, and I ended up stopping going to church because I needed to feel like I was a part of something. I needed to feel like I had friends there. I needed to feel like I was included. Even though I made it so that, you know, it wasn't enough. Like, I felt left out, but I had no reason really to feel left out. But then it wasn't until later till I had realized that, you know, I'm not supposed to be going to church to fit in. I'm not supposed to be going to church to find friends. I'm supposed to be going there to seek the word of God, to learn about him, to follow him, to spread, you know, his name. And I wasn't doing that. I was just, you know, it's like I was just going there and trying to seek something that I had no business seeking, because the only person that I need to be seeking, the only thing I need to be seeking is God. And so basically, I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, you know. I started drinking. I started smoking weed, and that led me into, you know, stuff that I had no business getting myself into at that age, you know, especially. And when I was 14, I was actually raped, and that was like my turning point, because I stopped hanging out with like the people who I used to hang out with. So basically I was hanging out with nobody. I was really athletic as a kid. I was like in this sport and that sport. So I just stayed in my sports, but I was really hurt, you know. I felt like I was really worthless, useless. I felt like a nobody, that if I were to die, that like nobody would care or even notice, you know. It was just really hard for me in general, you know. I had a lot of sleepless nights. I couldn't sleep. I didn't like to sleep because I felt like I was just gonna have nightmares. It was really hard for me, you know. And I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anybody, because it was a small town, and I didn't want everybody to to look at me differently. I didn't want anybody to like feel sympathy for me, because like what? Like, you knew that I was already struggling, you knew I was already bullying, and then this happens, and now you care, you know, now you want to be involved and all kind of stuff. So I didn't say anything, you know, and I'm not saying that that's the way to go, because you should always speak up if anything happens to you, you know, there's always people you can talk to, and that's not the right way, but I just didn't want to. And I wasn't until like 2 years later, so I was like 16, that I went to a youth group, like camp kind of thing, and I spent the night there. It was like for like a couple days, and I was with my little church friends and everything. And basically I went on stage, and they were telling people to like tell their testimony and all kind of stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go up there and tell them like what I've been through. No, I'm not gonna do it. But then I did. I went up there, and I was just like, I just cried. I didn't say anything. I just cried. I basically was just like, you know, like, I was raped. I told them I was raped and all that kind of stuff. I confessed, and I was just telling them what was happening, what happened to me, and, you know, like, why I'm here, and hoping to be I'm already saved, you know, I already accepted God in my heart and everything, but like, I haven't let it go, you know, I didn't give it to God. And they prayed over me, like the whole church and everybody in the seats, you know, reached out their hands on and like spread their hands and was just like praying over me and praying over my life and hoping that God would just take all that burden and all that pain away. And like literally that night I slept the best, and it was just like the most, I slept on the floor that night, you know, and I felt like, sorry, I'm like trying not to cry in this video, but I felt like, you know, I couldn't believe that, you know, I couldn't believe that I would feel that much of peace and that much of like satisfaction, that much of just joy, just, and have that pain lifted off my shoulders just by speaking up and praying about it. And because it's different when you pray about it yourself than having more than just one person praying for you, because you need you know, you can always pray. I always encourage people just like, you pray to God, you know, spend your time, and you should always have your time. But like when you have so many people and they're reaching their hands and we're all speaking in tongues, or some people are speaking in tongues, and we're all talking to God, and we're trying to heal you, like that's powerful, honey. And after that, I went home, and I went on a drive with my mom, and I told her what was going on, and you know, I just was, the reaction was the main thing that I was scared about. Sorry if you guys can hear traffic and stuff, but I just didn't know what my family would say, you know, because it's not your fault, you know, and I blame myself for putting myself in that situation for a really long time, and the only thing I can do is move forward. So they had asked me if what I wanted to do about it, but the thing that I feel like I needed to do was just to speak, just to talk, and, you know, just to get it off my chest. Previously, when I was in middle school, you know, I went to counseling because I got caught, like, cutting and stuff, and had to go to counseling. You know, that was something that it wasn't an option. So I was going to counseling, and I was, you know, trying to go to church and all that kind of stuff. And it was working for me, at least. Okay, so I started smoking a lot again, and I don't even know why. I think it's just because there was no way that I would get into a group of friends that, you know, didn't smoke, because I was being bullied when I was in middle school, which made me honestly become a bully to other people, and it was just a whole thing, you know. And I just felt like there's nowhere I can go. There's no other people that I can, you know, and other people that my church friends, they literally didn't go to my school. They're either homeschooled or went to a different, you know, county or whatever. So I was alone there, you know, and I didn't feel like I could, like, I never was the one to like hit people up. So I still hung out with my little friends, which honestly wasn't the best decision. I had to go to rehab. I had to stop smoking. I ended up going smoking again, and me and my dad were, you know, fighting because he didn't want that in his house, and I would, you know, disobey him. I would be rebellious. I was mad at him, you know, because of You know, I don't know why, honestly. I was just hurt and mad and everything else. Just nothing mattered to me, you know. I moved. My main goal was just to be like, I'm gonna move. I'm just gonna get out of here. Like, once I graduate, I'm leaving. And I did. I left. And it's my first time, I guess, disclaimer. This is my first time doing like a look like this. Like, really, really colorful. So I don't know how this is gonna turn out. It's gonna turn out, I don't know. But we're doing it. But anyways, yeah, basically just I went to leave. So I graduated and I left. And was it a mistake? No. But I definitely had to learn the hard way life, you know, because then I had a car. I ended up getting a car. Well, I had totaled my first car. And I wasn't on any drugs or anything. I was actually in rehab when I totaled my first car. I had a lot of anxiety and depression when I was in rehab. I worked so hard, you know. I went and I had walked to work like every single day almost. And it was like a mile, or like a little over a mile to get to work. And I would walk that right after school. Yeah, I got a scholarship, and that helped me put a down payment on my car. Because I was like the first time I was just like, dang, like, God is good. Like, what? I remember getting called down to the principal's office, and they just were like, I have a check here for you. And like, there's a check. And they kept telling me like to just like a word assembly, but I wanted to go to work instead. So I go to work, and I had got a scholarship for business because I had like a 89 or higher in my business class. And when I was a senior, I took most of my classes that were business classes because like, I didn't want to have like a whole bunch of study halls. Not because I wanted it, because actually it wasn't because I wanted it. It was actually because my counselor was like, look, you're taking these classes and you're taking college credit. So now, and I paid for my whole college credit too. I paid for everything. Well, most of it. I think my dad maybe helped me a little bit, but I paid for most of it. And that was like a big accomplishment for me, you know, investing in myself. But, so yeah, when I moved out. So I was 18, had a place, and I was commuting and I'm still commuting to school, right? And I was working full-time at McDonald's. And that was hard to balance it because like I was getting taken advantage of at the work there. I was taken advantage of, you know, they knew that I didn't know what I was, you know, getting myself into, working all those hours. And then I ended up getting promoted to manager. And, you know, I was going through a lot of stuff at my job when I had went to school for college. My first job, I was working full time. They could have told me, they're like, look, I need your school schedule so you can make your schedule. So I gave them my school schedule, not knowing that they would literally schedule me like right after my last class. Well, that was like awful, but they did that. You know, like I would have had like barely any. Literally, I studied at night, and I would get off of work. When I went to turn on manager, I would get off of work around like 2 or like 3 o'clock, and I had to have like a 9 a.m. And for some reason, I got Dean's List, Honor Society, and yeah. So basically, I got like a really good GPA my first year of school, and I had no clue why, you know. I didn't know why. And they had like what's it called, they had a scholarship at my job, and I was trying to apply for it. Every time I would apply, I would get denied the scholarship, which didn't make any sense because everybody was getting the scholarship. Like everybody was getting the scholarship. So I was just like trying to get in contact with people, trying to understand why I wasn't getting the scholarship. And no matter what I did, I didn't get the scholarship, right? And I really needed it because like I was working every single day, but like only making like $400 to $500 a week. And I was commuting from school, and I was commuting to work, and my work was like 20 minutes away from my house, and I had to pay a lot of money in gas, and I had to try to budget and everything like that, and I was just struggling so hard, trying to have like a social life. And I had dated this one guy right when I got into basically to like, he was like taking my car. He was it was just a whole bunch of like bull, you know. It was just a whole bunch of like stuff that, you know, I was just down about, and you know, it was just awful. But basically, God is so good because of the fact that he had a plan for me. You know, he put this counselor in my life to tell me to take these classes, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to go to school for, you know, and I still don't know like really what I wanted to do, but I know that no matter what, I love business, you know. I still love business, will always love business, you know. It was the best choice ever in my life, and I'm glad that, you know, he was there to motivate me to take those classes. So they gave me a scholarship, gave me a $4,000 scholarship, and nothing was ever given to me, you know. And my mom went with me to help me pick out a car so I would be able to commute, because I had no clue what I was, because I had a house already in, you know, the place where I'm going to school, but I didn't know how I was going to get there, you know. So I picked out a place to stay, but I didn't know how I was getting to school, basically. And that was a blessing. I'm like, dang, like God's good, right? And then I was having trouble with my first job. As I was saying, I was having trouble with my first job when I was in school. I was working so much, you know, I wasn't getting any help. I was understaffed at night. I was working the night shift, and I just didn't know what to do, you know. And then like I wasn't getting paid. I wasn't getting paid like as a manager. I wasn't getting paid equally as the other managers when I'm over here busting my butt every single night, you know. So basically, the district manager of my job like blocked my number. It was this like, you know, white older lady, and she had blocked my number, so I couldn't send times to her. I couldn't do what I needed to do to complete my job or do my job, and you know, fully, because she had blocked my number. And one of the jobs was to message her certain things so that I could, you know, so they would know what was going on in the store. And you know, so I would have to ask my supporting manager before they left to do that for me, because my number was blocked. Yeah, I knew that it was blocked. You know, you can always tell if you're blocked, you know. So it wasn't until like almost the end of my first semester that I started to speak up. I'm like, you know, before that, you know, I've always was voicing like, when am I going to get my pay? When am I going to get my pay? Oh, you're going to do this? I'm like, okay, well, I can do this then so that I can, you know, get my right pay, because like, look, like I'm a struggling college student, you know, I need to figure out what I need to do so that I can get equal pay. So I was struggling with that, and sorry, I'm doing my wing, so it's like that. Struggling, trying to figure that out. And then like I got to the point where I was just like, look, I'm about to quit. I'm about to, you know, I told him I need to have a manager meeting with him, my boss, and the district manager, because this is ridiculous, you know. It got to that point, you know, and I was really trying to do my best for it to not get to that point, but it didn't, you know. Situation in like the most kindest way I could possibly. I was just like, look, ma'am, I don't know why, but my phone number is blocking your phone, so that way that I can't do what I need to do. And then basically, not only was my name blocked, but I wasn't getting the right pay. So after I had the conversation with the managers there at that place that I was employed, they paid me the right way, right? But in my heart, I feel like I needed to get like a different job. I knew I needed to start looking, because I knew that I just wasn't going to be treated the same after that. So basically, I was given the raise, but I was working like 50, like literally 50-hour weeks, honey, getting like 400, almost like $500 a week. And they cut my hours to literally 1 day a week, and I was only getting a 4-hour shift after I had voiced my concerns and, you know, tell them like what was going on. So basically, I was looking for a different job, and I had actually went back to my hometown because it's not too far from my school, that I couldn't like commute on weekends. So that's why I'm like, okay. So I felt like I needed to like apply to this job. You know, it was on my heart. I was like in my dream, kind of like, I don't even know, like it was just really placed on my heart. So I go and I apply and I get the job, and I started training. It was like my first serving job. I was a server. So I start serving, and my first week, I already made more money than I've ever made at working at my other job. I took the blessing that God gave to me of a different job, so that it allowed me to focus more on school, because I was only working basically weekends. In my life during that time, you know, I was still friends with people who were like addicted to things, you know, and like helping them try to like withdraw these addictions and all this kind of stuff. And it was so hard. Everything was just too much, you know. And then God like placed me at this job, and I ended up finding my current fiance there, and he moved we now live together. And, you know, it's just like I got put like both of us together, and literally was like the best thing that ever happened to me, because I never wanted to be with anybody. First of all, like I felt like I didn't see that in my future, you know, being with it. So basically, you know, I told myself I would never date anybody again. I would never become intimate with anybody. I was just gonna be by myself. Like, I'd rather be by myself. I could be miserable, be in pain, everything all by myself. I don't need any help with that, you know. But, you know, I found love in everything when it was least expected. We both are growing more in Christ and learning more about God and learning how to love ourselves and just going through life together. I have somebody to just really go through life together, and who is for me, you know, and who loves me for me. I never felt like I was ever going to find somebody who was going to accept me for me. I'm a believer because of the fact that I was raped when I was 14, and that could have I could have went through a whole different path because of that. I could have gotten more into drugs. I could have died. I could have committed suicide, but I didn't, you know? And instead I turned to him, and I felt free. I feel free. I feel free. I have peace. I no longer, you know, have sleepless nights. I no longer, you know, feel like I'm ugly, feel like I'm ashamed of myself, feel like I'm ashamed of anything, you know, because I know who I am, and I know that I'm loved, and I know that I'm beautiful, and I know that everything's going to be okay. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. You know why? Because this is my life for him, and everything else is just going to fall in place. And I know that, you know, I know that now. I worried about getting a car. I worried about how I was going to get food, how I was going to eat, you know, because I was poor, you know. The best thing I ever did was accept him into my life. You know, not only did I find friends, but I found family. Like, I have a ton of family, you know, through Christ, because of the fact, and we're all brothers and sisters through Christ, but I'm just saying I have like really close, you know, family, because of the fact that, oh, I'm trying to look for my tweezers. Oh, and then, you know, I have people that check up on me. I have people who love me. I have people who think about me, pray for me, you know. And I wouldn't have that if, you know, I didn't go through the process. I wouldn't have that if I didn't, you know, go through the things that I went through, you know. I'm not just saying all of this stuff just to say it. Like, I really want to, you know, create a community, you know. I want us to pray for one another. I want us to talk to each other. I want us to lift each other up if we're ever going through something, you know. Because we do life together. You know, that was like that was the main like thing at my church, that they made sure that everybody knew, is that we do life together. And I definitely believe that. We can't do it alone, you know? Perfect. You know, I definitely am still a sinner. We're all sinners. But this day is the day that, you know, God rose up. You know, he had died and rose up to die for our sins. And that was, and I have nothing else just to be grateful for that. You know, we are not perfect, but we are forgiven, you know, and I'm so grateful. And I thank God so much that I'm just not where I used to be. I'm not the kind of person I used to be. I'm not where I used to be. I'm not who I used to be, you know. I am Jasmine in the now, you know. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of work, and I've gone through a lot of pain, but he was with me through all of it. I wouldn't be where I am without him, you know. And I thank him. I thank God so much. You know, I have a good relationship with my fiance. I have a good relationship with my, you know, my friends that I have now. And I wouldn't be where I am without God. I could have let the devil suck me in with all the stuff that he tried me with, you know. He tried me with a lot of things, but you know, I didn't let him. I didn't let him have a hole in my heart. I gave my heart to God instead. And he blessed me. He continues to bless me. He continues to bless people around me. And I see that, you know. And I am so thankful that, you know, he loves the way he does. He forgives the way he forgives, you know. You know, get yourself if a Bible is like really intimidating to you, like get yourself a scripture book. Like Joyce Myers, I watch her. I'm friends with her. I have a lot of her books. Like a lot. So like that's somebody that I would recommend, you know, even going YouTube and like watch her like videos, you know. She is amazing. I'm doing the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. And this was hard to work with. I'm not gonna lie. And it's very powdery. Don't forget to leave this video a like, comment, leave a whole bunch of comments in below, like what has God done in your life, like how has he affected you, how has he changed you in a good way, you know, what did he rescue you from. Like I would love to, you know, hear your guys' testimonies as well, you know. So much. I do wish you guys the best. Don't forget to follow my social media. I'll have my Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter down below. If you want to reach out to me for any prayers, requests, just let me know and I will definitely pray for you. Thank you. Bye.